Hello, everyone. How are you? Try and raise this up a little bit. Oh, my goodness. Try and keep my eyes open at this angle. So, this is a remote view that I did a couple of days ago. I probably should have recorded it then, but I was exhausted, so I waited until tonight to do the remote. And I want to be clear what type of a remote viewer I am. I am a remote viewer who does a technique that is heavily influenced by Vajrayana Buddhism and the ability to experience empathy for another human being to the point where you merge with that individual and you become them. Now, over the years, people have gotten frightened by my work, frightened for my safety, because I do try to the best of my ability to embody the other person and to be them. And we do it in as protective and a safe space as we can. Here is what I would like to say about the Department of Justice meeting with Ghislaine Maxwell. This is the first thing I want to convey. You have two perspectives here. You have Ghislaine Maxwell's perspective, so who I am as Ghislaine Maxwell, and what I want as Ghislaine Maxwell. And then when I put myself in the shoes of the Department of Justice, I have a different agenda. So you have two people here with different agendas. So let's start with Ghislaine Maxwell. My agenda is to get out of prison. My agenda is to prove that the non-prosecutory agreement has been violated and that they signed documents to ensure that they would not be prosecuted. Epstein, all of the people that participated in this pedophile ring signed, they gave information to the intelligence agencies, the US, the FBI, CIA, etc., regarding what was going on. And they got off. They signed an agreement that they would not be prosecuted. So Ghislaine is arguing that based on those agreements, she should not be in prison, that the government has to honor and not prosecute any of those people because that was what they signed. So they signed a non-prosecutory agreement. So she is arguing legally that they have to release her and that they are in violation of that agreement. To be clear, the FBI, the NSA, the CIA collects information and dirt on people, and then it can use it to find out data, information, and intelligence about people that they want to find out about. But also, you could argue they have that intelligence in order to hold it over people's heads until that individual no longer serves them. Have the intelligence agencies gotten what they wanted from Donald Trump? Are they ready to cut the cord? Who is running this show? Who is outing Trump? And why are they outing Trump? And why are they outing Trump now? If the FBI had a non-prosecutory agreement with Trump, Epstein, and anybody else that participated in this pedophile ring, then they've been holding on to this information for a very, very long time. And yet they chose to protect him and to seal that non-prosecutory agreement, to seal the names, which is why they won't release him, because it would be in violation. Why? Why is it all blowing up now? Who's the leaker and why? Is it coming from the intelligence agencies themselves? And if so, why is it leaking now? So those are the deeper questions. Has the FBI decided to throw him to the wolves, or the CIA, or the NSA, or the Pentagon? Why is this stuff leaking now? And who has left him to be hung up to dry? Who's in charge of what's happening right now? Why is this happening right now? That's the question we have to ask ourselves. So that's the first question. The next thing is to look at Ghislaine Maxwell and what her agenda is. So her agenda is to show legal evidence that she shouldn't be in prison because of those agreements. And she has a legal argument that if, in fact, she signed a non-prosecutory agreement because she herself is on the list, because she herself sexually assaulted many children, then they're in no position to be charging her with anything. That was the agreement she signed in exchange for information. And what they did with that information, who was on the plane, who was at the islands, what dirt they were collecting, all the tapes, everything that was in Epstein's safe, everything that she theoretically possessed, they got a hold of, theoretically. But that is her argument. She wants to get out, and she wants them to honor the non-prosecutory agreement. But then you have to put yourself in the shoes of the DOJ. What does the DOJ want? And what you find when you put yourself in the shoes of the DOJ is something very, very different. What you find when you put yourself in the shoes of the DOJ is you're trying to fish and find out how many cards does this woman have in her back pocket. Because it seems to me when I go into this energy that the DOJ is entirely compromised and that its number one concern is protecting Donald Trump. Which is different than maybe how the Pentagon feels, people high up in the Pentagon, or FBI, CIA, whoever's been holding on to all this information, including the Epstein tapes, going, the stuff that they had from 2004, and then the stuff they took after they went in and took stuff out of his safe. So the DOJ is trying to find out if she has any cards in her pocket and if she will use them. How dangerous is this woman? How much should we be concerned? How much damage can she do? Can she show us evidence that she has proof that Donald Trump was in compromising positions? Does she have photographs, letters, etc.? How dangerous is she? That's really what we're trying to find out as the DOJ. How worried should we be? Is this woman a threat to the president? That's all they care about. And so they're not there because they're concerned about her. They're not there to right a wrong that she feels has happened because they violated a non-prosecution agreement. Their job is show us your cards. What exactly do you have on him? You got some stuff in your back pocket? You want to make a deal? Two different worlds with two different agendas. I thought I would go ahead and do the empath's prayer. I'll take the cards over here. I'd be very curious to find out if Ghislaine Maxwell is safe, because you get the impression when you go into this energy also that she feels that she could be assassinated, because she could be murdered, because there are plenty of people in prison who are desperate for money that will do anything for money. It just takes an opportunity. All right, let's go ahead. We'll do the empath's prayer, and let's see what Ghislaine Maxwell's cards look like. Okay. I want to call on white light protection for myself and this community as we ask permission from Spirit to access the Akashic records. We call on our spirit guides and our good angels to be with us. Please give us the clarity and the wisdom that is needed to empower all of us on our journeys, to make the best decisions for ourselves, our families, the planet, the people we love, but also to help those that we may have strife with. And together, collectively, we say, Amen. Let's go in. The future of Ghislaine Maxwell. Will she be assassinated? Will she be murdered? Will she be free? Maybe she gets out and then she's killed. Has a little accident somewhere. Falls out of a window, or gets hit by a car, or has a bad case of food poisoning. This is what the DOJ wants to know. How dangerous is this woman? How big of a threat is she to the President of the United States? That's all they care about. They'll be friendly, they'll be nice, they'll be polite, because they're trying to get information from her. She's claiming that Epstein was a psychopath. She's claiming that she wished she had never met him. She's claiming that she herself is a victim. She's claiming that she got hypnotized by this person into believing that things were okay that were not okay. That she got pulled into some kind of weird, sick world where he was constantly testing what she would go along with as the psychopath to prove your love for me. This was a sick game where, would you do this for me? Do this for me? And she was trying to make him happy. Manipulated by, so she's claiming that these things never would have happened if it hadn't been for Epstein, that she was hypnotized into this, that she was seduced into this, that she would never have done this on her own, that he that he had like a Svengali effect on her. She has a strong case, strength, and they're looking at her potentially being released possibly in the next few months. April, a new beginning starts for her. Her first house, the King of Pentacles. It's all business. She is all business. She is the Taurus male, ruled by Venus. It's all about me, wonderful me, glorious me. She is thinking about her world, her well-being, her stability, her finances. The crossing card for her is takes the money and runs. 7 of Swords, a desire to flee like a thief, to get out of Dodge. She is the dog who, when you as soon as you let go of the leash, you take the leash off and she's out of there. Flees like a thief and is a thief. Desire to walk away. So there's a real good chance she's going to get a pardon. She's holding on to money. She's got money. Ace of Pentacles stands in her third house, hidden. buried under the covers money, and the thief runs. I'm telling you, she has some of Epstein's money. She's got about 30 million, I'm hearing. So she moved his money around a little bit. She made sure that nobody could touch his money. This is one of the things she did, and she knows where the money is. She's coming out of the King of Swords, so she's coming out of this heavy. I wonder what sign Epstein was, because I'm getting a lot of interesting male energy here. We'll find out his birthday. But she's coming out of this cold energy of the, it could also be that it's Trump. He's August 10th, so he's a Leo. And, but this is the energy of somebody who potentially had, well, it could be that it's Trump, this kind of past placement with the King of Swords, possibly, an air sign male, possibly a Gemini. She's given the pardon. So you can see here, action, reaction. I do action, reaction between the 5th and 6th house. That's how I read cards. That's how I train my students. So you have the cause and then you have the effect. This is the pardon here. Trump's going to pardon her. Then she desired to flee like a thief. This could happen in less than 4 months. Where she's at right now, she's been very patient. She has the temperance and sobriety card right over her. Her opposition is probably the DOJ, and you can see them examining the evidence. Prosecutors, judges, anybody who's examining the case. In this case, the DOJ presents as her opposition. Her hopes and fears. 2 of Swords, blind justice. Justice is blind. The heavy swords. So in her mind, she fears that she will not receive justice. It's interesting to go into her mindset that she feels that because she fell in love with Jeffrey Epstein, she was willing to humiliate and degrade herself and do things she never would have done had she never met. This is what she claims. She was also groomed. She talks about having been groomed at 14, that there's some issue I'm hearing about incest or sexual abuse by a family member starting at age 14. So she was groomed into believing you do these things for the person that you love. So she's claiming this. And so she recreated that relationship. She celebrates her release, and she has friends celebrating. She has people that don't believe she should be there, people that feel like Epstein did this to her, that she was a victim of Epstein, that she was hypnotized by this Svengali, this dark wizard, into doing these crazy things because she was completely obsessed and in love. She would have done anything for him. And he kept upping the ante, of more and more crazy things he wanted her to do and what she was willing to do to show her love. You see these things, I'm willing to even get you girls to molest. It started off one way, maybe having threesomes. It started off with public sex or threesomes or orgies. The slow descent into hell, where he slowly degraded her self-esteem. This was something that she says happened from childhood, that she was a victim of sexual abuse going back to age 14. Maybe it was her father, maybe it was somebody else, but that this was something that was familiar to her. There's a celebration of her friends at her release, so she's welcomed with flowers, that they see her as another victim of Epstein. Over the issue of her sobriety, holding on to her coin, frugality, the DOJ is screwed. So they feel that she's got him over the barrel, and that they can't prevent her from talking. There's this is blowing up. This is blowing up. Also, she did give stuff to Murdoch. Australia has a connection to this. Australia has some of this material. And so for that reason, they're screwed. Because if she already handed stuff over to Murdoch, if he's already got kiddie porn with Trump all over it, if he paid top-notch money so that he could be one of the people controlling Trump. You see, it isn't just one person controlling Trump. It's many people, including Murdoch. Anybody that had money. Now, Elon Musk has seen pictures. They all have copies. They've all paid big money to control this guy. So you have the intelligence agencies with the non-prosecutorial agreements where they had to tell them everything. So they got that in their back pocket. But now you have all these billionaires like Murdoch who also have it sitting in their back pocket. Maybe they got stuff from Pecker. Maybe they got stuff from people inside the FBI that were willing to sell information for money. But the bottom line is that stuff circulated, and they're saying that the cat is out of the bag and they can't control it. The woman with the evidence, she wants to be a lawyer. This is a woman who feels, it's interesting that she works in legal defense. She works at the prison in the library helping women with their legal defense, because this is a woman who says, if I could, this is exactly what I would do for a living. I would be fighting for the rights of victims. And she's going back to Europe. You can see the Three of Wands moving into final position to go over the water, and the direction is east. I don't see her being murdered at this time. In fact, quite the opposite. You can see action, reaction. Trump is an air sign Gemini, and you can see the Gemini male or the air sign male gives her Ace of Cups. You can see fourth house coming in, that energy of her leaving everything. She goes. The crossing card, flees like a thief. The karma card is the Four of Wands and the Strength. She has a strong case. Four of Wands. It could be 4 months. I read Wands. I read Wands as time and space. So this could happen relatively soon in the next few months. She's been very patient. But this is fascinating because it would suggest that the DOJ is imploding and that it isn't just one person that has this material. It's many people in positions of power have these tapes. I'm sure the Israelis have it. I'm sure other intelligence agencies have copies of it, which means that everybody is sitting on dynamite. And it's only a matter of time when Trump pisses somebody off and then they start releasing the stuff, which is what we're seeing now with the Wall Street Journal. And I'm going to go ahead and predict that 2 or 3 new documents are going to be coming out. A big expose Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Are going to be big news days over this. All right, all he can do is pardon her in exchange for her to not talk about it, not maybe say a couple nice words about him. But the truth of the matter is, this cat is already out of the bag, and it's imploding, and there's no way they can stop it. All right, I want to thank you for listening to this remote view with tarot cards. If you're trying to get in for a reading with me, you can book me through Booksy, Dr. Whimsy Anderson, ND. I'm also a naturopathic doctor and medical intuitive if you need help in that direction. All right, be kind to all so that all will be kind to you too. God bless. Peace out. We'll see you next time. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for your support.